Whether you just got injured or just had surgery, why do injuries take so long to heal?
Hey, this is Andy Good. I know how it goes to get injured. It's not a fun process, and one of the first things you're thinking as soon as you get injured, whether it's small or big, is how long is this going to take to get back out there and get back to what I want to do. So I want to touch base a little bit on why it does take as long as it does and what realistic expectations are for getting back to all the things that you want to do. Two major factors that play a role in returning are the tissue healing time and what tissues are involved in that, and the second thing being pain and what causes the pain from a nerve level. Pain comes from several sources: nociceptive fibers within all soft tissues, as well as neuropathic from a nerve source. When talking about tissue healing, there's three major phases that all tissues have to go through within the healing process, and you'll feel better and better through each one of those phases. The first is the inflammatory phase, where you usually feel the worst, but the next following that is the proliferation phase, where a lot of your healing is occurring and you're starting to build back up those tissues and starting to be more active, but you're still fairly fragile during that time. And it doesn't matter if it's a small cut to a big surgical incision. These tissues have to go through that process. The last phase would be the remodeling phase, which can really be shown to take up to a year to 2 years to show full remodeling. All tissues within the body are layered with collagen fiber wraps that are known as fascia. During the acute inflammatory phase of the first week, our jobs as therapists is to work on reducing the amount of natural inflammatory process that's taking place through things like ice and wraps for swelling. The proliferation phase is also known as the migration phase, and the role is to really start to produce new tissues to take in the tissues that have been injured. We call this granulation tissue formation, as well as fibroplasia, where you're getting this growth of new cells. You also get a growth of blood vessels and a new layer of skin that occurs within the overlying tissues. Part of this cell growth at that time is an increase in type 3 collagen fibers, which ends up taking the place of some of the original tissue that was damaged. Our role during this phase of physical therapy would be to assist in promotion of cell proliferation and growth, as well as education for the patient on the healing process that is still taking place. The longest and most frustrating phase by a long ways is the remodeling phase, in which there continues to be a development of collagen fiber growth and an improvement in tensile strength or load strength of the fibers that are being laid down. But this can take quite a bit of time and really ramps up within the 20 to 21 day mark and clear through a year before it reaches maturation. The collagen fibers that are laid down during this period have reached their highest level of strength at about the 1 year mark, and still sometimes only reach about 80% of the initial strength of those tissues. So yes, it can feel like a long time. A year sounds like a lot for anybody that's going through an injury, but think about that as the full healing of that injury. You're going to be feeling quite a bit better at the 5 to 6 month mark. You just have to know that those tissues are not fully healed at that time, and you're at a higher risk of re-injury at that point. And so that really has to play a role with your return to sport and getting back out there to be active, whatever your sport may be. And so really focusing on your range of motion and your strength at that time, because that can help with those pain signals from the brain, whether it be nociceptive, like we talked about with the tissues, or the nerve stretch, anything that's tight around those nerves from scar tissue and other things like that can cause problems long term and end up with chronic pain issues. And that's where this can be very helpful. Thanks. I hope this